Drivers, this is your warning. Race above the double yellow line. If, in NASCAR's judgment, you go below the double yellow line to improve your position, you will be black flagged. If, in NASCAR's judgment, you force someone below the double yellow line in an effort to stop them from passing you, you may be black flagged.
Now that we've heard that word from NASCAR, let's break down the final lap, because it took us over 500 miles to get there, and then all the action happened just over 1,000 feet from the start-finish line, actually coming off of turn 3. Jamie, you start us off here.
Well, I've heard that video quite a few times. Let's take a look at the players here. We got Matt DiBenedetto, who's leading that. You see a little bit of a gap on Eric Jones, and then you see Chris Buescher is right behind that. William Byron is actually pushing Chris Buescher, but then take a look at the very back in 5th place. That's Denny Hamlin. Look at the run that he's going to generate here. Now look, these 3 guys right here, Jones, Chris Buescher, and William Byron, they have generated a run, and they're going to move to the outside. Matt DiBenedetto, though, he's going to have to move up and block that. We saw blocking all day long and how aggressive those guys were at doing that. So look at the run that they're going to generate. Matt's actually going to move up, try to block this run. But as they move up, William Byron moves to the inside right there, and Matt DiBenedetto actually has to go all the way from the top of the racetrack to the bottom, blocks William Byron, and when he does that, that's what got him actually penalized, guys. We just saw that in the video. But then also look at Denny Hamlin, who's behind. Look at the amount of sparks that you see on Denny Hamlin's car. Denny thinks that they're wrecking at this point. So he's actually going to go to the bottom of the racetrack and get on the apron. But what he does a good job of is he doesn't let off the gas. He stays in the gas, is able to run the apron. William Byron somehow does not wreck in all of this, straightens it up. And here, Adam, we got a 3-way drag race to the start-finish line.
So note, Denny Hamlin does go below the double yellow line. He does advance his position, and we'll address more of that in just a second. Larry, let's pick it up as they get closer to the tri-oval and through the tri-oval, actually. And the one thing I notice here, there are a number of drivers in the mix that have a chance to win that either have never won at the Cup level or maybe haven't won in a while.
Yeah, most notably Matt DiBenedetto in that yellow 21 car and Ty Dillon in the 13 car there in the middle. They're starting a side draft. I don't know how in the world they made it off turn 4 to this point right here, but we're going to take a little bit of a focus on Chris Buescher right there in that 17 car and Chase Elliott in the 9 car, because remember the double yellow line, you just heard about it right there in the video. That's out of bounds. If you go below that double yellow line, it's a penalty, but Chase Elliott is being forced down there by Chris Buescher. So Chris Buescher, that's why he was penalized. One other thing we talked about in our pre-race show yesterday, we are at Talladega. We are not at Daytona. At Daytona, the start-finish line is right there in the center of the tri-oval, but at Talladega, it's all the way down coming out of the tri-oval. They have to go about another 1,000 feet, and you can see them 4 wide. DiBenedetto throws another block on Eric Jones in the 20 car, but when they get back to the checkered flag, Denny Hamlin, that 11 car, he wins the battle there. Matt DiBenedetto, that's 2/100ths of a second, but because he was penalized, remember the car that's going to follow him through, which will be Eric Jones in that 20 car, he actually was credited with finishing second. Ty Dillon in that 13 ended up finishing 3rd.
It's a 1-2 finish for Joe Gibbs Racing. Some thought maybe it should have been Eric Jones that got the win, because when Denny Hamlin went below the double yellow line to make that pass in turn 4. As a driver, your thoughts on the move that Denny made there, Jamie?
Well, I tried to point out the sparks in the video because when you're sitting in the seat, and first off, William Byron's car was like 45 degrees to the racetrack, and then when all those sparks hit your car, you have a moment that you're kind of blind. And so I think the natural reaction inside the car is to move to the bottom, because typically when cars wreck, they go to the outside first. They don't go to the bottom. I think Denny was just trying to avoid the wreck. He was also forced down there a little bit by the 17. If you look at the video, it's a judgment call, but I think they got it right in this situation.
No, I do too. This rule has been in play for almost 2 decades, and it's rare that they make the call on a driver that forces another driver down. 90% of the time, it's just a driver that went below the double yellow line. But the one thing that I was proud of NASCAR yesterday, especially once they rescinded the penalty on the 9 and penalized the 17 for forcing the 9 down, they were very consistent with their calls yesterday. And at the end of the day, I think that's all you can ask.
NASCAR Scott Miller said post-race, our #1 goal is to figure out who won the race. Very quickly, they said it was Denny Hamlin, and they said exactly what you guys talked about. Because he went below that double yellow line to avoid an accident, we called it all good. And at the end of the day, let's face it, Denny had a really good race car. He deserved to get the checkered flag.
For more great NASCAR on Fox content, subscribe to our channel. It's somewhere right around here.